Hello, everybody. I'm here with John. He's an attorney, an injury attorney out of Florida. How are you doing today?
Hi, very well, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Great. So we're here today to interview him about his line of work, why he's unique. He actually has a pretty special story that I wanted to get into here. Number one question, I'm just going to jump right into it. You're a survivor of a serious car accident. Like, how has that affected you? How has being a survivor of a serious car wreck affected you in fighting for accident victims?
Well, so several things. As a survivor of a car accident, there are things that I can relate to my clients differently than maybe someone who hasn't been in an accident or been seriously injured before. I can explain the process through the eyes of someone who's experienced it, especially when it comes to the process of going through a court case and the medical portion of it, because I've experienced many of the injuries and extensive procedures and things that go along with the treatment process that a lot of attorneys don't understand themselves because they haven't been through it. And I can relate to the client and explain, walk them through some of these things, make them feel more comfortable with the medical decisions that they make from a firsthand point of view, if you will.
Okay, having been that you gone through it yourself. And so were you before this accident, were you an injury attorney?
No, actually, prior to this accident, I was a deputy sheriff. I was in law enforcement, and the accident that I was in was very serious, and I could no longer be a deputy sheriff as a result. So, I get a lot of different, again, a different perspective on things because I can also look at it from the law enforcement side of things, from accident investigations to testifying, having a deputy sheriff on the stand or any law enforcement officer on the stand. So yeah, completely sidelined my career in law enforcement and then going into the legal profession instead was another extension of helping people, if you will, because I thought I wanted to be a prosecutor. I thought I wanted to stay in law enforcement, but as through my experience with the attorneys that I was affiliated with, they were my mentors, and they taught me that I could also help people on a much different level by going into personal injury law. And I think that's one of your previous attorneys that you had on your channel here was Ben Rabin. And Ben really did a good job explaining what it is to have a relationship with your attorney that's personal, that's different from big box lawyers or TV lawyers. And that's one of the important things is I can relate to people on a different level than a lot of other attorneys can.
Okay. That actually leads me to my next question. How does a boutique firm like yours or like Ben's in New York, and of course in New York and Florida, there's some big differences there. We can get into that in a bit. But how does a boutique firm like yours handle a case versus a big box firm like you just mentioned?
Well, small boutique firms like ours, we do one thing well. We've been doing it for many years. So the difference is that you get more personal attention. Every client has our cell phone number. Every client can call us or text us or message us anytime they have a question. They don't have to go through the gatekeepers, if you will, the secretaries and the phone takers. Another big difference is that the TV lawyers that you see on TV, they make their money by moving people in and out of their system as quickly as possible. That's why we call them in the business mills. And that's how they make their money, by pure volume. As a smaller boutique firm, we make our money by building up each individual's case as big as we can. And that's just through our experience and knowledge about how to build up a case. And that's how we make our money, by building up your case. So, what's better for the client, obviously.
Okay. And so, you talked about helping people. Obviously, a big firm isn't like it's a corporate, it's like a machine almost, right? So they don't really have that personal attention on helping people the same way that you would. I want to ask you a personal question. Has helping people always been like wanting to be a sheriff is a deputy sheriff is a pretty dangerous job, right? And wanting to help people to that degree, it's like, has that always been in your blood?
Yeah, of course. You don't get into law enforcement, for money or any other aspect. You really get into it because of what you can do, what difference you can make in your own community. And that really related to me in this line of work too, surprise to my surprise, because many people have this preconceived notion or the stereotypical view of attorneys that do auto accidents and motorcycle accidents and pedestrian accidents, trucking accidents as just ambulance chasers or just out to make a buck. And that's farthest from the truth. The vast majority of personal injury attorneys like Ben and I, we look out for where are the people going to get the best medical care? How are they going to get better faster? Are how can we make sure that a person's medical bills and the expenses that they go through are taken care of, and they're able to live and be able to financially help their families through the course of a case? How does that happen? So there's a lots of ways that we help people have the best experience when they're having a rather serious and stressful event happen in their lives. And that, I mean, we still to this day, I get Christmas cards from people from years ago that, you do help people, make life changes, and you stay with them. And that's really one of the surprising aspects of the job. And I realized that when I was working with my attorneys in my case, and how they help my family and my two small children, survive a loss of a career. So yeah, it's a big deal, and a lot of people don't realize it.
Wow. Okay. That's a tearjerker. That was very, you know, that was very heartfelt. And so, back to one last point before I let you go here, right? People make mistakes after car accidents that are, I don't know if you'd agree with this, but they make certain mistakes that the insurance company can really take advantage of in hindering how much they pay out on their case, right? What are some of those mistakes, and how can they avoid them?
Well, to start with, Florida, unlike Penn State in New York, Florida has moved to the right politically over the last 10 or 15 years, quite radically. And the laws here in Florida change, and they change with the political party that's in power. And of course, when you move to the right, it's the insurance companies that benefit. So in our state, we have something called tort reform. Maybe in your state, you have that too. And all tort reform means is laws that reform the state to make them more advantageous to insurance companies, and actually, as a citizen, you lose. Okay, so tort reform means citizens lose. And if you remember that when you see the TV lawyers, don't believe the nonsense when insurance companies say tort reform will help reduce your rates. That's a load of nonsense. As people learned just this year and last year in 2023, the rates went up excruciatingly high because the state allowed them to, as part of some of the new law changes. So, but by going back to your question, we have laws in Florida now that require people to be treated within a certain amount of time after a car accident. If you miss that window, car insurance doesn't apply, and that's a big deal. So 10 or 20 years ago, I'd say, yeah, wait a few weeks, decide if you want to have an attorney. And now you call an attorney the day after an accident happens, the day you get medical treatment, okay? Or the day, if you're wondering what the next step is, don't wait. You call one now. In Florida, it's free to talk to an attorney, and it's like that in a lot of other states when you're dealing with car accidents. And speak to someone. It's free. Find out what those laws in your particular state require of you, so you don't miss those windows of opportunity. So that's one big advantage of hiring an attorney, that so you don't screw up your case. The second, and probably the more important aspect of hiring an attorney, is getting proper medical care. And when I mean proper, there are a lot of different types of doctors out there. But in the auto accident world, the report writing and the things that are required of doctors change, just like the rules that changed with an auto accident victim. The laws also changed for doctors. And a lot of doctors, they don't want to deal with it. So they don't do auto accident claims, or they do them, but they do them for the insurance company side. And they help insurance companies, and that's who they get paid by. So what you want to do is when you hire an attorney, you want to steer clear of all those different types of medical providers that are going to either not help you or hurt your opportunity to actually pay your expenses, put money in your pocket for some of those things that most states laws allow you to be compensated for. So finding medical treatment is probably the biggest aspect of it. And then of course, finally, the third thing is that people don't know what insurance companies look for. I mean, when you call an insurance company to report a claim and you don't have an attorney, there's a separate set of adjusters that deal with you. There's a separate script that they give you, because they can ask you anything. You don't know what they're allowed to ask you, what they're not allowed to ask you. And navigating the insurance process, people think, oh, my insurance company is going to take care of me. Never think that. That is never true. That is absolutely 100% falsehood. Insurance companies are there to collect premiums and pay out the least amount of claims possible. That's how they make their money. That's why in 2023, Geico, the biggest insurer in Florida, made record profits. They cry, oh, boo-hoo, we need tort reform. We have to, we're losing money on all these claims. They made more money last year because of two things. First, the less catastrophic claim payouts and higher rates that they charge people. So navigating through that process and understanding how to put a package together when you make your claim, what the law requires and what insurance companies look for and know when they have to pay, is absolutely imperative.
Wow. All right, John, thank you so much for your time. Where can they find you online if they've been injured in a wreck in Florida?
Right. You can just Google prolawusa.com. That's our website, prolawusa.com. And we have got a lot of client testimonials on there, videos of folks that you could listen to, and just in any state. It doesn't have to be Florida, and listen to people's personal experiences, what they experienced in a car accident, which can be helpful to folks. So I appreciate you letting me talk with you this morning. It's been fun.
Well, I asked you because I knew it'd be good once I found you online and looked you up and everything. So, thank you so much for your time, and everybody check him out. Check out his website. If you're injured, if you're not injured too, check out his articles and his information. Make sure you're not making any mistakes after your car accident. John, thank you so much for your time, and hopefully we do this again soon.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.